What is up, denizens of the interwebs? It's Chats here coming at you with another video, and this time we're talking about one of the most ludicrous lawsuits that I've ever heard in the gaming industry. And that is Stellar Blade being sued by another company who claims that they are violating their trademark. So like, subscribe, and let's get into this one. So sadly, Stellar Blade isn't being sued because the game is too awesome, too sexy, too engaging, or just so we can finally get it on PC. No, it is being sued for something that's completely and utterly a nothing burger. And this article comes from Forbes, written by Star Wars Theory's biggest hater, Paul Tassi. According to this article, Stellar Blade, Sony, and Shift Up are being sued by a Louisiana film production company that goes by the name Stellar Blade. He levies that because of how popular Stellar Blade is, anyone Googling Stellar Blade cannot find his website anymore, even though they own the URL, stellarblade.com, which I have to agree with Paul Tassi here, unfortunately, that I'm willing to bet that people typing that into a URL bar has driven more traffic to them than ever before. And I 100% think that's the case, though I don't think it's the kind of people who would be paying for a film company. And of course, the trademark issue got funnier as Paul Tassi dug deeper into it. The trademark issue is even stranger. Stellar Blade was originally shown off as Project Eve, which is a common thing for them to have a different name than their launch name when it's being in early development, either to make it harder to find information on it, or so they can refine the name later on. But the name was changed in 2022, and in January 2023, Shift Up registered the Stellar Blade trademark. Stellar Blade's Griffiths Chambers Mahaffey, who is the person who runs the film company, then registered Stellar Blade in 2023, meaning that they had filed the trademark registry after Shift Up and Sony did. And then afterwards, they sent a cease and desist for them to force them to change the name. Now, the two things that Mahaffey levies as being a justification for this lawsuit is first that the logos are similar and confusing, and that given the color scheme and more prominent letter S. You heard me right. They're too similar because of the letter S being different. And this letter S doesn't even really, it just looks like an autistic number 5. And Stellar Blade's S looks actually stylized. How is this logo, and this logo has a sword in it. This logo literally has a sword. The Stellar Blade logo looks nothing like the Stellar Space Blade logo. It's not even comparable. Now, Paul Tassi gives some judgments that I also have to agree with, unfortunately. The company's name is Stellar Blade, no space, not Stellar Blade with a space. So I got it wrong earlier. I accidentally flipped them. The game is Stellar Space Blade. The company is Stellar Blade, one word. So because of the way that history has usually gone with copyright, putting that space in there is enough of a differentiation that it completely waves away the copyright infringement. And even though the trademark wasn't for the same word, Shift Up registered the word first. And you'd have to prove that Shift Up knew about the Stellar Blade company for them to justify being able to do it. And of course, the logos are not similar at all, as we see here and here. This looks like it's from a 1970s Blade and Sorcery movie. This looks like it's from a Game of the Year contender. And then of course the demands are even crazier. They're demanding the name to be changed, and they're demanding that Sony hands over all materials with the Stellar Blade name on them so they can be destroyed, including games, any kind of console-based stuff that they're doing, anything that has the name Stellar Blade on it, any merch, they're demanding it all be handed over to this small-time company. It really just feels like this guy's trying his best to get some attention. And the only reason I say that is because I've seen both his discography and his website, neither of which are even remotely impressive. So, here is the Stellar Blade website. About Stellar Blade LLC, services we provide: music videos, commercials, documentaries, web videos, short films, web serial, screenplay adaptation, original concept development, HD and 4K cinematography, on-location sound, post-production, video editing, and color correction. And that's basically all he does. He's got some things here of different things that he's offered before. He's got some quote. I've had to blur out all of his personal information because I don't know why you'd want it just sitting there on your website so anyone can find you, because it literally has his business address. And obviously, don't go and harass this guy. I'm sure he was just trying to make a quick buck. And going to the other side of his website, because there are only 2 pages on the website, this one lists the services he offers. On-location camera lighting, 8 hours, $450. On-location sound, 8 hours, $300. I think this is one time, not per hour. All the different things he offers. And I'm going to assume each of these are clips of things that he's done, and then of course you can request a quote. But obviously, with these kinds of fees and having the ability to sue a major company like Sony, he obviously must have some very impressive films under his belt. Well, no. He's got a total of 8 projects to his name. 7 of which have been done, including Edgar Allan Poe's Ligeia, which I assume was just a small production, Encephalitis, the Jacob Savoy story, Lenore, 20-something, Rappaccini's daughter, HBot, Hoper the Hopeless, and the Violin Maker. I haven't heard of any of those. And there was a massive gap of 6 years where he just didn't work on anything. So I'm really curious as to know what he thinks his grounds are. And my only guess is this was his best bet as free advertisement. He's going to sue Stellar Blade, and that was going to get his name on the market, so people would actually come and hire him. I think he's going to be hit with massive backlash. People are going to see that he's doing something trashy, like suing a game company. It's clearly not any kind of violation of his trademark and just causing problems where he doesn't need to be, and I really think this is probably going to kill his career. Because the amount of money you have to spend to properly sue Sony, for all we know, Sony could just literally keep them locked out of court and keep it all in its place until Griffith runs out of money. So yeah, none of this makes any sense. This is a really small nothing burger of a lawsuit that's just going to cause problems for both parties involved, but most importantly, the smaller party being Griffith. I have no idea why he thinks that's a good idea. Now, if I'm going to use a bit of my lizard conspiracy theorist brain, maybe for all we know that this is a coordinated attack designed by several of the journalists to just try and put any kind of bad light on Stellar Blade. Only problem is, I doubt it, because the best that would do is cause a massive backlash in the other way if it's found out that that was in fact a coordinated attack. And all that would end up doing is bolstering Stellar Blade even more. Now, all I want is for Sony to just put Stellar Blade on PC so I can finally play the game. Hopefully I'm monetized by then though, just so I can write it off of my taxes, because Stellar Blade's kind of an expensive game. But I really don't think Stellar Blade one word has any kind of grounds to stand on. I really don't think this lawsuit's going to go nowhere. I'm not a law student. I'm not a lawyer. I don't do anything with law because nothing's skeevier than a lawyer. But I guess we'll see how this goes. I fully expect it to be thrown out within the first 10 minutes of them being in court. But let me know, do you think they have any grounds to stand on? Do you think this is going to have any kind of implications for Sony, Shift Up, or Stellar Blade? Do you think this might, revolutionize naming conventions in the gaming world that's really going to limit the names that you can utilize? Or maybe it's going to create a precedent that allows for significantly more names to be utilized in that space. But thanks for coming along with me. Hopefully this is just another fart in the wind that just gets completely ignored.